I wanted to start off, though, by talking about something. This past Wednesday, if anyone doesn't know, was World Refugee Day. So that makes last Sunday and this Sunday what we observe as World Refugee Sunday. And if you don't know, and if somehow you've missed it in the news or anywhere else you might find out what's going on around the world, over 65 million people are displaced by persecution, violence, and human rights violations. It is so sad to see some of these people and what they're dealing with, women, children, everyone. And the Bible teaches us time and time again that we are to care and accept for the stranger. And I encourage you to visit the United Methodist Committee of Relief's website. It's umcor.org, umcor.org, to see how our denomination is responding to the refugee crisis, what they're doing to help people around the world, and how you can help and be a part of that and helping those that need refuge. Please pray for them, pray for the refugees and those working to help them, and ask God to show you opportunities to be able to help them as well. So this morning we're going to talk about youth ministry. So our youth ministry here is called Rave Youth, and our word rave actually has a meaning for each letter. We are relational, we are oh my gosh, I just blanked on it. Relational, accepting, valued, and engaged. We are here to build relationships with each other. We are accepted. We accept all are welcome, and we are valued as God's greatest creation. And we are engaged with each other, with the Spirit, and with our community. And we've got a lot of things going on. We always have a lot of things going on. This last year, through our fundraising efforts, if maybe you bought a Christmas tree from us outside at Christmas time, or you donated through our envelope campaign, or just a random donation, we've got several of those throughout the year. Over the last year, we've raised around $10,000 for our youth ministry, and that's awesome. We're so thankful for the generosity of the people in our community and in our church. And what that does is that gives us money to do a lot of different things. We support a child through World Vision. We give a monthly amount of money to support that child, help her have clothes and go to school and do different things that she needs to be raised up and developed as a young woman. That didn't sound right. But we also are going on a big trip next month. Next month we are going to Tennessee. We're going to be camping in Stone Door Ranger Station, which is in South Cumberland State Park, Tennessee. And we will be doing mission work and also engaging in a wilderness retreat. So we will camp in tents. There are no showers. We will bathe in rivers, which I know some people aren't looking forward to, but I'm kind of up for the adventure. And we will explore a cave. We'll do some rock climbing. We are going to go whitewater rafting, but we're also going to go into Chattanooga and partner with some organizations there to do some really great work. I'm still waiting to hear exactly what that is from the organization that we've partnered with that set our trip up. So I can't give you details on that at this time, but I can promise you it's going to be hard work, because I did tell them I want us to have hard work. I want to work these kids. So we are going to have a good time, but we're also going to put in time serving just as Jesus called us to serve. But we've had a great year. We've had a few students graduate. One of our students that graduated, some of you saw him every week playing drums for us, but he enlisted into the Army and left a couple weeks ago for boot camp. We've had a student already go off to UF to start summer classes, and we have another student starting at FIT in the fall who's going to be on the swim team. And just yesterday, one of our students who's going to be a senior this year received his Eagle Scout ranking in his Court of Honor yesterday right here in our fellowship hall. It was my first time getting to attend a ceremony like that. It was a really great time seeing what he'd been through, the people who supported him and helped him along the way, and to achieve that ranking. And I was really honored and did not expect it, but part of the ceremony is he gives a pin, a mentor pin, to somebody he considers a mentor, and he actually gave that pin to me yesterday and caught me totally off guard, but I was very honored and appreciative to know that he sees me as someone who has put influence in him, built and poured into him so many great things. So there's a lot of good stuff going on. We meet every Sunday night back in the fellowship hall. We usually play some games. We sing some songs just like we did here this morning, and we usually have a lesson and some time of sharing. It can get a little rowdy, but that's okay. We have fun. We have one game called Gladiator, if you haven't seen the video on Facebook, where we hold a cookie sheet in one hand, and part of a pool noodle in the other hand, and we go around battling each other trying to knock the cookie sheet out of the other person's hand with the pool noodle, and it gets pretty intense at times. There's a lot of screaming and jumping around and almost injuries. Nobody's gotten hurt yet, but it's been pretty fun and pretty crazy. We do a lot of great things. But I want to talk about young people and what's going on with young people and how we can serve young people better. Last weekend, I had the pleasure of going to a worship leaders retreat at the Life Enrichment Center in Fruitland Park, Florida. That's the Florida United Methodist Conference has a Life Enrichment Center over there, and this was the first one they did. It was called The Well, and it was a great time. It was a 24-hour retreat. It was a time for renewal, for us to be refreshed and re-energized as worship leaders, but also a time of learning and sharing and building up one another. And we had a great time, and we had some of the best worship. You know, I'm sure all of you have had that experience where you're in church and you're singing and it's great, but then there's that person behind you that sings really loud that maybe shouldn't sing quite so loud. Well, this was not the case. Everybody there basically was a worship leader and a singer, so it was more like a gospel choir all singing together, and nobody wanted to sing melody. Everybody was singing a different harmony and picking a different part, but it was beautiful. It sounded amazing. So it was a wonderful time of worship. But on our last day, right before our last session, we took our last break, about a 10-minute break before the last hour of time together. And one of the worship leaders got a text, and she came up to the front to one of the leaders of the retreat, and he immediately said, "Hey guys, I need everybody to come back in. Can we all please gather around?" Her name was Angela. He said, "Angela just got a text. She has to go home right away. One of the youth in her church committed suicide." And it was like the wind just getting sucked out of our sails. In this great time of worship, it was this dark moment. But in that dark moment, we were there for her, and we were able to come together as a group, and we surrounded her, and we prayed, and we shined some light into that dark moment. And even though that wasn't going to carry her necessarily through that dark period she was about to experience, it was something that we could do in that moment to be with her and share with her and her burden. But kids are hurting. This is a problem. Since 2011, suicide has become the second largest cause of death for young people from 15 to 24. The only thing that beats it are accidental deaths. And in a couple of years, over the last few years, it's even been the second largest cause of death for young people from 10 to 14. 10 to 14. It's unbelievable. Our young people are hurting. They have expectations on them unlike ever before. They have pressures on them like ever before. And a lot of times they don't know how to deal with it. And they don't have people there for them to help them deal with it. And sadly, this is only one of the symptoms, one of the issues that young people are dealing with today. We hear so many stories about violence between young people. We have school shootings just a couple of hours from here a few months ago that took us into a really dark place as a community. We see horrible things in the news and we hear horrible stories, and they are dealing with some of the most difficult situations in a young part of their life, an early part of their life where they haven't been built and developed to know how to deal with certain things. So what do we do? What do we do? What does the church do to help young people, to help the youth, to pour into these people, to encourage them, to love them? Well, the first thing is youth ministry cannot just be a part of the church. Youth ministry is a ministry of the whole church. We can't just say, oh, that guy over there is the youth guy, and those are the youth, and they go do their thing in that room over there, and we don't see them unless they come out, or they need something from us, or we want something from them, we have some yard work that needs to get done, or whatever it is. It can't just be a siloed ministry that is kept separate. These young people need to be engaged, and And we need to recognize that as a church as a whole, we need to be reaching out to them and engaging them and loving them. We must move from a multi-generational culture, which is seen in most churches today, even in this church and in the other church I serve at as well, where the generations tend to stick to themselves. We have to move from that culture and work towards and embrace an intergenerational culture, where there is fellowship and love and sharing and encouragement that goes across all generations. So I'm going to share some statistics with you on the state of the church. One study showed that 40 to 50% of youth group graduates are leaving the church. Half of the students that graduate, having gone and been a part of youth group, do not come back to church. More than a third of millennials, my generation, don't scoff, I am a millennial. I'm not that old. They have no religious affiliation whatsoever. A third of people in my generation. We have a loss of parental involvement. I can tell you from firsthand experience that I see students all the time that come through our youth ministry that have no parental involvement or very little. They certainly don't have their parents dragging them to church on Sunday morning or even to youth group on Sunday night. We're lucky that they even show up. We're blessed that they even show up on their own or put in the effort themselves to come and be with us and hear the gospel and hear the message of Jesus. And most churches are siloed, like I mentioned before. The children's minister is that person, and they have their children's ministry in that room, they do that there, and the youth ministry is over there, and the music ministry does their thing over here, and the Bible study, that Bible study meets there, and they do their thing in that room. We're separated. We're fragmented. We're not coming together as a real family. Studies show that youth and young adults with the highest faith maturity experienced more intergenerational worship as they grew up. So you might have this amazing youth group with a ton of kids that meets on a Sunday night, and that's the only time that they're at church, and they've got their hands raised and they're praising God and their eyes are closed and they seem so passionate and authentic, but they're not experiencing the true church. They don't have mentors building and pouring into them. And this study shows that those kids, even the ones that are committed to being a part of youth ministry, are not the ones who are actually having their faith developed and matured by the church. Faith formation of youth and children is influenced mostly by what happens in, guess where? Not the church, in the home. And with their families. We have to find a way to not only reach young people, but incorporate all generations. That includes the families as well, their parents. Many churches now are moving away from youth ministry completely and focusing now on transforming into a family ministry focus, trying to serve not just the kids or the youth, but their parents as well. Finding a way to incorporate them into our family as a church as a whole. And people need, especially young people, developmental relationships, people who are not related to them, for faith formation. And there is a ratio that they found that they need 5 to 1. 5 developmental relationships to 1 child. 5. I know that my youth that come on Sunday night or most Wednesday nights aren't seeing 5 people, 5 adults from our church that are both loving on them, encouraging them, building into them, showing them that they are cared for and valued, and that they are not just some fun group that shows up and gets to eat pizza and play games, but that they are actually a valued part of our church, and that God loves them, and that they are invited to be a part of the work of the kingdom with us in this church. So what do we need to increase that ratio. We have to have more adults building in relationships with our young people. Because teens are 30 to 50% more likely to remain engaged with the church when they have that 5-to-1 or more ratio. If we want to see young people on Sunday mornings being a part of our church, working with us together, we have to reach out to them. We have to go where they are. We can't just say, hey, come to church. I've done everything. I've put out incentives. I've had deterrents. I want to see young people in our church on Sunday morning, and I've tried everything that I can do on my own. But the truth is that the church has to meet them where they are and show them that they're valued and make them a part of what we're doing. We have to give them opportunities to serve. Show them that they are valued and that their opinions are valued, that they aren't just here to be a token that we can say, oh man, how great is it to have that young person here worshiping with us this morning. We have to let them know that they are valued and what they believe is valued, what they think is valued, and give them opportunities to share with us what they think and believe as well. We can't just impose on them. We can't have a relationship where we are the actor and they are the acted upon. It has to be both ways. So to build developmental relationships, we have to do a few things. First, we have to express care. We need to show these students that we like them and that we want the best for them. That means we have to be present. That we don't just show up and sit in a corner and be a chaperone while they do whatever it is they do. We actually have to pay attention that when we're with them. Ask them questions, listen to them, hear what they have to say. A lot of them have a lot to say, but they don't have anyone to listen. Give them the time and listen and pay attention. We need to be warm. We need to let them know and show them that we like being with them and that we need to express positive feelings towards them so that they know that they are loved and valued and that their presence and their time with us is important. We need to invest. We need to commit time and energy doing things for them and with them. We need to show interest. We need to make it a priority to understand who they are and what they care about. You probably don't know what the latest meme is or who the most popular YouTuber is, and you probably don't even know what those words mean right now. You're wondering, what the heck is he talking about? Well, guess what? Come on a Sunday night and ask a kid, and they'll be happy to tell you exactly what that is and what I'm talking about. But you don't need to know that. But if you just show some interest, show that you care and are interested in knowing what they care about, what interests them, what they are doing, what they have going on. It means so much and can do so much in their lives. And we need to be dependable. We have to be someone that they can count on, someone that they can trust, that they can come to us in confidence, and that when we say we're going to be there for them, we will be there for them. We also have to challenge growth. We have to insist that they continuously improve, not just stay stagnant and stay where they are. We need to try to inspire them, help them see future possibilities for themselves, help them see a vision of what could be and what they could be. Some of these kids have no clue what they want to be or think that they won't be anything or can be anything. Help be that inspiration to show them that they can be something and that there is something great for them. We have to set expectations. Make it clear that we want them to live up to their potential. That we are expecting to see them prove themselves. We have to stretch. We have to recognize that our thoughts, while also pushing to strengthen them. And we need to limit, we need to hold them accountable at times for the appropriate boundaries and rules that have to be set. We can't just let them do whatever they want all the time. Trust me, I know. They'll run you over and go crazy. So we have to set those boundaries and enforce them. We have to provide support. We have to help them complete tasks and achieve goals. Encourage them. Praise them when they do something well. When they achieve something, let them know. Celebrate a win is something we say sometimes. Let them know that they've done something great. Don't let it just slide past everybody else's attention. Let them know that they've done something amazing and that you recognize that, you saw that. We have to guide them. We need to provide practical assistance and feedback to help them learn. Many of us have a lot of experience in life. We've been there and done that with a lot of things. Those are tools for us to use to guide them, to show them the better way to do things or the not so good way to do things, and help guide them away from that. We need to model. We have to be an example of someone that they can learn from and admire. We're not perfect. Lord knows I'm not perfect. My wife will tell you for sure. But we can still strive to be someone that they can admire and look up to, and set characteristics in our own life that they will want to model. And we need to be advocates. We need to be able to stand up for them when they need it. We need to be there as someone that will speak up for them when they are overlooked, when they are cast aside. Sometimes we have to step up and be the one who stands up for them. But we also need to share power. And this is something that's hard for a lot of adults, myself included. We need to hear their voice and let them share in making a lot of decisions. That means showing them respect. We take them seriously and treat them fairly. Even if you think something they say or believe or think that we should do is completely and utterly ridiculous, we show them respect and we take them seriously and let them know that we appreciate their feedback and their input. We have to give them a voice. Sometimes that means we have to ask for them to speak. Most young people aren't going to just come up to you and start telling you everything they think and believe and feel and what they want to do. You might have to go out of your comfort zone, step forward and ask them and listen to their opinions and consider them when you make decisions. Don't just listen so that they feel better. Actually take into account what they're telling you. You have to respond. You need to understand and adjust to their needs, interests, and abilities. Maybe you worked with a youth group 15 years ago and everything the way you did it then worked great, but now it's with the group you have now or the kids you have now, it's not the same and it's not working that well. So you have to adapt and be able to respond to their needs and the things that they can do. And you need to collaborate. We need to work with them to accomplish their goals and help them solve problems. We also need to expand possibilities. We need to help them expand their horizons and connect them to opportunities that they may not even know about. Opportunities to serve, opportunities to lead, opportunities in the community, opportunities in education, whatever it is, we need to be able to help them find those opportunities. Most of them have no idea where to look. They know they want something, but they don't know what the first step is, and maybe you do. Or you can find it out. Be there to show them opportunities. We need to explore. We need to expose them to new ideas, to new experiences, and to new places. A lot of kids today don't go to a lot of new places. They go to school and they come home and they sit in their room and they play video games or they're on their phone or whatever it is. They're not getting opportunities to explore new places. That could be something that you have a great gift for. You could take them and show them new opportunities, new experiences in new places. Maybe that's your gift that God has given you to share with them. We need to connect them, introduce them to people who can help them grow. Remember that 5-to-1 ratio. Maybe you're the only one at this point, but you have other people you know, or you meet people that can build and help them grow as well, and you can increase that ratio for them so that they have the developmental relationships they need to really form their faith and build character and real people who can lead and take care of themselves and those around them. And we need to navigate. We need to help them work through barriers that could stop them from achieving their goals. We've probably all hit a few obstacles here and there in our lives as we go through it. Maybe we can help recognize ahead of time something that they're going to hit, some barrier that they're going to hit, and guide them away from that and help them to keep moving forward and growing. And one of the things that we need to begin to develop as people, as a church, is cross-generational communication. And there's more to it than this, but just a few things I want to mention is trying to use common language and common experiences. So you're probably not going to go up to them and start talking about the memes and YouTubes and whatever it is that you don't know anything about, but you can find common language to discuss with them and connect with them and communicate with them. You can find things that you've done that they do and share in that common experience. And when you have that give and take in conversation, it's okay to disagree. I mean, how many of us adults can even agree on just about anything? I mean, we have two services because some of us like a certain type of music and others like a different type of music. We don't agree on just about anything most of the time. So we're probably not going to agree with young people either. And it's okay to disagree, but it's not okay to blame, shame, or attack someone who disagrees with you, especially a young person who's vulnerable, who isn't strong and hasn't developed a mind that can handle that sort of confrontation and attack. See, the church must act and take responsibility for the faith formations of all generations to come. This is not my church. This is not your church. This is God's church. And you've probably heard it countless times, but the church is not the building, it is us. And it should be all of us. And it should be young people, children, millennials, older, whatever it is. The church has a wide range. And we should see that all coming together as one, worshiping God and building the kingdom here on earth through the work that He gives us. In Psalm 78:4, it says, "We will not hide these truths from our children, and we will tell the next generation about the glorious deeds of the Lord, about His power and His mighty wonders." And in the book by Darren Sutton called Everyone's Called Youth Ministry, They Just Don't Know It Yet, he says this about this scripture, and kind of through a youth ministry lens, it's not really the youth pastor who is going to propagate faith in the younger generation. The church, in all her youth-fearing glory, has a faith story to tell. You have a story to tell. You have a story to tell. We all have a story to tell. And there's a good chance that if you are a follower of Christ, that you have a defining and transforming moment with Christ that you can share. There are glorious deeds that you can speak of and a mighty wonder that you can share with our next generation so that they can hear these things and experience God themselves. So are you ready to do that? Are you ready to share His deeds and wonders? Are you ready to step out of your comfort zone? Are you ready to meet them where they are? Are you ready to be the church for the church? Are you ready to share God and His greatness with all generations to come? Or are you happy to just stay where you are? Keep things the same. To not grow yourself, to not grow as a church, to not grow our young people that are hurting so badly. Ask yourself, I challenge you, ask yourself, what can you do as a part of the body of Christ to bring the good news of the gospel to the next generation? I don't have all the answers. I read lots of resources. I network with other youth ministry leaders. I do as best I can, but I can't do it all myself, and I'm not always going to do the best thing every time. I'll make mistakes. I've made plenty. But I'd love to collaborate. I'd love to work with you. How can we do this together? How can we make our young people feel welcome? How can we show them that we love them and encourage and value them? One event I've heard about, some people will do, or some churches have done, is they've had like a special tech night where they invite all of their older people to come with their smartphones and tablets and that they barely know how to turn on. And they just come, and we let our young people show them how to use them, teach them how to use their devices in ways that they probably didn't even know how to, and give them an opportunity to go back and forth and have that experience where they learn from each other, talk with each other. Maybe that's something we do. I don't know, but that's just one thing. That's one example of a way that we can try to bring each other together, bring our generations together. So the future of the church and the lives of generations to come are depending on us to stand as a community of love that reaches out and embraces everyone across all generations. This is not an exclusive club. There's no certain requirements of age, stature, status, whatever it is. I'm telling you right now, youth ministry does not have an age limit when it comes to people who help out. One of the most beloved volunteers at a youth group that I grew up in was in her 80s, and she was wonderful with the kids. She was not one running around, the field playing dodgeball or anything like that, but she was there to smile and encourage and love on them. And they appreciate that. You're never too old to tell a child that they are valued by God and loved by God, and that we care about them as well. Our future generations are depending on us to reach out and embrace everyone across every generation. And I have a vision that will happen here. That these pews will be filled, and it won't be certain people of a certain age that show up and dressed a certain way. It will be people across all generations throughout our community coming together as one, worshiping God, praising our Savior, allowing Him to guide us in His work on earth to bring heaven here as He taught us. That this doesn't have to be a place where the kids show up on a Sunday night and we go do our own thing in a room by ourselves because that's the cool thing to do with our group, or that's the cool place for them to hang out. But have a place where we can all come together and love each other and fellowship and encourage one another and build and pour into one another.